Hey guys, JassassinE here and welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be getting stuck into episode 10 of my Diamond City project. So guys, on the last episode we done some really cool settings here in the entertainment area, and I have set up some great areas that I can enhance, all ready for the full tour. Now some good news guys, the full tour is only one episode away. So there will be one more episode and then the fully enhanced tour. So guys, the timer is up and let's get stuck into this build. So the first thing we are going to do is place down a better set of hot plates. Now what I'm doing with this one guys is I am going to rotate it and put it in long ways, and of course put the last two hot plates into the wall. That way it just looks like a 4 burner. Now when I did put it left to right and shrunk it down to try and suit this bench top, it just made the hot plates that small that it'd be flat out heating up a coffee cup. Up goes some lights so we can see what we're doing. Now guys, I had a challenge request given to me by Arch Dornan, and he asked me to put a rag stag up somewhere in the penthouse. So I've held off until this episode and I put the rag stag up right above the fireplace. So guys, that is the challenge executed, so to speak. And of course the challenge is now completed. So the weapon that I shot this rag stag with, he's actually holding in his mouth. So I do hope you like that, Arch. I think it has turned out fantastic, and thanks for giving me the challenge. I had some fun with it. So guys, what we're doing now is we are starting in the library. So we're going to put down a little bit of antique furniture. I think this is very similar to the Queen Anne style furniture. And of course, going to one of my favourite mods, which is the Kuro Tab, we are putting these very cool side tables on each side of the lounge. So shrinking them down a little bit to make them fit a little bit better here. And I think the finish on these is absolutely fantastic guys. The Kuro Tab is a fantastic mod, and if you guys haven't used the Kuro Tab, I highly recommend it. It has got some really unique pieces within the mod. So being a library books is very imminent, so we are going to start putting the library books in. Now up here I'm thinking there'll be two people sitting down having a game of chess or drafts, whichever you like to call it. Now on the other side guys, I am putting down some plants and just another little settee here, which is going to consist of an ashtray, some smokes and a few bits and bobs. Now with this particular room I've got a vision in mind, and you know when you go into those houses guys and it resembles somewhat of a hunting room, you see taxidermy hanging off the walls and a few weapons up on the walls, as well as some old style library books. So that's the kind of style I'm going for this room. So up goes some wall art. Now I've chosen some really fitting wall art here, which of course has got some hunters sitting around the table. So guys, as you can see with the items we've placed already, it's actually starting to take shape. So one cool idea that I have here guys is I'm going to put a shotgun down, and using the weapon rack bracket I am going to place the shotgun down and then of course rotate it so it just looks like that it is leaning on the armchair. Now one good thing about the weapon rack bracket is once you lock your weapon in place, it will not fall off unless you press A to remove your weapon. So once again, using the Kuro Tab, I have decided to use the plants that have got the slightly brown leaves, and I think that colour and that texture is really going to suit some of the solid timber we will be placing today. So I think that has really livened up this side of the glass. Now one thing we are going to need if we have plants is a watering can. So I haven't found any mods that offer a watering can by themselves, so I've just decided to glitch the bits and pieces that come with the watering can into the wall. That way it just looks like our plants are being well looked after and getting fed with some good old H2O. So I think this rug looks absolutely fantastic, and it's really going to enhance the aesthetics of this room once it is completed. But I wasn't able to put two bookcases along this wall, so what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm adding a full wall. Now the reason why I'm putting a full wall in here is when you put a wall over top of another wall, sometimes it will flicker, as you've just seen on the screen. So bumping it forwards or backwards by 0.01 will stop the flickering, but occasionally on certain angles you may see the join. To make sure that the join, if it is going to be seen, it will be hidden by the bookcases and of course the furniture I choose for the lounge room on the other side. So we will be putting a nice little nest of books sitting right at the end of the bookcase, and I think this really adds another texture of timber to the room. So we will be back into this room, guys. We will be filling these bookcases full of books. Up goes some blinds, which is from the dynamic window blinds mod. Now I did a mod muster on this particular mod, guys, a couple of episodes ago. If you haven't seen it, I would certainly recommend checking it out. This mod has got so many purposes, it is endless what you could do with these blinds. So using the one blind, I am fitting it to this window, so it actually looks like there is three separate blinds on the window, except I'm only using the poly count from one set of blinds. Now on the other windows, guys, when I first downloaded this mod, the windows were at different heights, so I'm just going to run a piece of trim right across the top, and that way when we stand back and have a look, one does not look higher than the other, and it somewhat looks neat and tidy and has the same eye line. As you can see, it's gone from looking a bit drab, and now all of a sudden it's starting to look quite warm in here. And guys, that's the exact thing that I am doing with this episode. I will be making these two rooms feel very cozy and very warm. So I think a brown couch would suit really well inside this lounge room. I don't think I want to use any bright colours or anything like that, guys. We just want to stick to some really good neutral colours. That way I can really enhance the room with the decor. So there we go, guys, we have a 2-seater and a 3-seater. So guys, putting two coffee tables together, I'm trying to make a square coffee table, but what you're going to notice is each end of each coffee table is slightly darker than the other. So when you look at it right now, it actually looks like exactly what it is, guys, and that is two coffee tables. So I have got a really cool idea to make that look like one coffee table, and at first I will just put down the entertainment unit. So we are using a dresser from the renovated furniture mod, and that is also where the couch and the coffee table has come from. Now turning around that coffee table, guys, you will notice that now that looks like it is one full panel. And that is exactly what I'm going for, guys. They do not have any decent square coffee tables in Fallout, so I decided I'd make my own. So using the height from the first coffee table is how I'm going to set the height for the accompanying side tables. Just enlarging the tables by 1.2, it just gives me a slightly larger surface to decorate. So I absolutely love this chandelier, guys. The chandelier is from the Snappy House Kits mod. It is going to add a really nice orange tone to the room, so it can really enhance the colouring of the room, and if I've planned it correctly, it really does enhance the furniture. So over here is a colonial style table. I do like mixing up my furniture, guys, because it does make it a lot more interesting for the end result. Now I've always wanted a mod that gives me the world globe, and it sits on one of those rotating tables. So of course we don't have a mod that gives us one of those, so I'm going to build my own custom miniature version and put it on display on this lovely spherical elliptical table. So up goes a little bit of modern wall art, because changing your wall art style in your rooms is one way to make them a little bit more interesting. But yet you'll notice that the colour and the textures that I'm choosing for this room all blend together really well. My favourite trick, guys, and all this does is just enhance the wall art and just make the textures really stand out. So as you can see, it looks quite drab, and we have already made a bit of a difference just with placing some simple furniture pieces. So I thought that I wanted to do something a little bit different on this wall. So what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm creating my own wall feature. It's going to add some wall art to the left hand side and some shelving to the right. So one thing I like to do is, I think the bare metal looks pretty average, so I am going to inlay a solid timber shelf over top of the metal, but if I line it up correctly I can make it look like that these shelves are actually supported on metal brackets, and that's just one way of dressing up this metal shelf to make it look that little bit more realistic and homely. So up goes the American flag. Because Fallout is based in America, it makes a lot of sense, guys, to have a flag on display. Now I've got something really cool for these swan heads. We'll get to see that in a moment. Now one thing that I do like to do, guys, is I do like mixing some pre-war furniture with post-war furniture. There's no rule that says we cannot do that, and it's just a way to add some brightness and some contrast to your room. Now over here I'm going to make a really cool little decorational piece out of a few vases. So of course, starting with the larger vases up the back, we are going to work forwards to the front of the table, and the vases will get smaller as we work our way forward, and that will create a really lovely arrangement. There we go, guys. I think that looks really cool. guys, we are going to put up a few colonial style picture frames, and that will just help offset the American flag. So up goes a couple of books. Now this is where the swan heads come into play. I'm going to shrink them down, and I'm going to have these swan heads nestling up against the books, which I think will make a really cool set of bookends. So I haven't seen this idea done before, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So guys, one thing that I will say is there's only one more episode left after this one, and then we are going to be doing a fully enhanced tour. So I'll talk about that a little bit later on in the video. Now guys, my wife loves doilies, and this is going to really get me in the good books. If you guys have followed this series, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I think doilies is a really good way to add a extra texture to your surface. You can add them on tables or any flat surfaces, and it just puts another texture between the tabletop or the surface and of course your decor. So down goes a couple of trophies which I think look pretty cool in that spot. So I was having a bit of trouble choosing whether I should use a pre-war television or a post-war television. So I have decided to go for a pre-war, because I would love to put this really cool gramophone beside it, which comes from the Creative Clutter mod. So a little bit of ambient lighting, because as we all know, if we can balance powered lighting and ambient lighting, we are going to save on FPS, which allows me to place a lot more decor. So this original mod was done by Matches Malone 89, and if you guys want to have a shot at building something here in Diamond City, I would highly recommend this mod guys. At the moment it has taken a flogging, and I have not even touched FPS yet. I think plants really add life and some great colours to the room, and you'll notice even the colouring of those plants will appear sporadically around this room, which really helps create a real warm feel. So up goes a couple of magazines, and it is time to put a little bit of character to this coffee table. I like to make things look lived in. When I get up to enhancing this build, I will have a lot of areas in this build that will be cluttered accordingly, and I will be making it look like someone actually does live here. So up goes a couple of board games and an extra set of chess or drafts. And we always need a decanter guys. Now this is a terrible idea. Putting a duster in front of a fan, it's just going to blow dust right in our bloody face guys, so that is not a very clever placement. So I will be relocating that duster very quickly. So over on this side table I'm thinking of a little military setup, and I'm just going to put down an ammo bag, some handcuffs, probably some hollow tags, and of course a 44 revolver. I think placing a few weapons around the house looks quite cool, and when you're in the Commonwealth you need a weapon close to hand at all times. Up goes a couple of hollow tapes, so it looks like we've got some music choice. And a little bit of pre-war money does not go astray either, because when we are at home, quite often we empty our pockets out and we normally put the items on the closest table to us. So down goes a pocket watch so we can keep an eye on the minutes while we are typing up some letters. And of course, to keep us some company, guys, we are going to have a nice decanter full of rum to keep us warm, and of course a shot glass to knock a few back. So a little bit of paperwork will just make this area look a little bit more believable, and it will actually make it look like someone's been sitting up here doing a little bit of typing while they've been watching the channel for the insane. Now guys, in the Commonwealth I can think of 3 things that I would like to do. One of them is drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes, and of course have a decent sidearm. So that is much better placement for the duster, guys. At least we are not going to have dust blowing in our face. So we're just going to add a few things to the veranda. Now on the next episode we are going to be finishing off the veranda, we will be finishing off the bedroom, and we will be placing some really cool things along the hallway, and then we are up to the full tour. So as I was saying before, guys, what I mean by the enhancement stage is when I finish my builds between the last episode and the full tour, I come through here and I start adding a lot more details. Now what you see now and what you see in the main tour is going to be significantly different, and guys, I am really excited to show you guys what I've come up with for the full tour. So being at Diamond City, of course, we are going to need a little bit of baseball paraphernalia, guys. So up goes a signed catcher's mitt and of course a signed baseball. And that looks right at home, right next to the television. Of course, we would probably collect cards that is also signed by our favourite baseball player. So that just completes that nice little baseball set. So guys, as you can see, adding some decorations is really starting to warm this room up. I have found these really awesome kelp plants. So we're going to place one of these each side of this particular print on the wall, and I think it finishes off this wall nicely. It's not overdone and it's not underdone. I think it looks absolutely sensational. Now guys, one thing you're going to notice if you have followed my build or my Diamond City project is that every room has a total different theme. So there's nothing worse than walking through a house and once you've seen one room, you've seen them all. So what I've done is I've used different colours, different themes, different furniture, and of course different details in every room. That way when it comes time to enhance the entire penthouse, I have a lot more textures to work with, and I can really put in some good clutter and really bring this place alive. So guys, if you do enjoy my videos, don't forget to hit the like button, guys, as a simple like really helps the content get out to the Fallout community and to other Fallout enthusiasts that may like it. And if you've found yourself watching a few of my videos and you're not yet subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, guys, because A, it really does help out the channel, and B, I really do appreciate it. So I'm not really keen with the way this blue plastic book holder looks underneath the table, but first guys, I'll just put a book underneath that side table. And now it's time to glitch a box over top of this plastic magazine holder, and it just helps it blend in with the timber items that are already in the room. So guys, this week's shout out goes to a good friend of mine, EZE. Now I tell you what guys, EZE does some very creative builds using absolutely no mods. Now his builds are very exciting. He has built spaceships, he's built war chariots, he's built hot rods, helicopters, he's also built boats, as well as some really cool settlements. You name it guys, he has built it without using any mods. So I've heard on the grapevine that EZE may be swapping over and using a few mods in his builds. I am really excited to see his builds with using some mods. So guys, if you would like to check out some of EZE's fantastic creations, go and check out his channel. I will leave his channel link down in the description. So we'll get rid of these modern stucco lighting and we will put in some candelabras, and that will just help set the mood for this particular library slash hunting room. And I think a deathclaw hand is the very last bit of taxidermy we will put in this room. And I cannot wait to enhance this room either guys. This room is going to come out looking very interesting. Now I had a little bit of trouble choosing what particular rug to use in the lounge room, because no matter what rug I chose, when I stood back I noticed a lot of the rugs did clash. So I figured I would use the same rug, but I'd go that step further and just do a little bit more custom work with these rugs. So one idea that I come up with is to add a little bit more texture to the rugs. So this particular rug was the rug I was going to use in the lounge room. But I thought what I'd do guys is glitch this rug through the first rug that I have chosen, just to add the brown tassels to the rug. Now little simple things like that is one way to make your build look quite original. Doing custom items and custom decorations really does add your own pizzazz to the build, and I think it's very important to do that in your builds guys. Put a little bit of personality in there. Once again we will just place a lamp lit poster, and that's just going to help draw the colours out of this gorgeous print and really help to warm up the room as well. So guys, we have the bedroom, the hallway and the veranda left, so we are going to be getting stuck into that on the next episode, which will then conclude this build. But you'll notice guys that there is two small areas that I have not mentioned yet, and that is the workshop and weapon area, and of course the lobby where we walk in from the elevator. With those two areas I have something really cool in store, and I would like to show you guys a bit of a surprise with those two areas when it comes to the full tour. So guys, on that note, I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. I've had a ton of fun doing it, as I always do. And at the end of the day guys, take it easy, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next episode. So bye for now.